Welcome to Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, the podcast that gives you an unfiltered, behind-the-scenes look at what it's really like being a woman in the middle who's over 50 and following her entrepreneurial dreams. Grab a superhero cape, girlfriend, because you deserve one. I'm your host, Master Certified Life Coach and Midlife Mentor, Suzy Rosenstein, and I am excited to inspire you with interviews that feature all of this midlife amazingness. Let's go. Hey there, welcome back to the show. We have another really exciting interview ahead of us about nurturing business growth across various industries. Today, you're going to be meeting Tina Brinkley Potts, a woman in the middle entrepreneur who empowers individuals who crave a little autonomy and fulfillment by helping them build and scale businesses around their unique intellectual assets. I can't wait to talk about this. Welcome to the show, Tina. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here. And I can't wait to talk about the unique things that we have going on being in the middle.
So good. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I know we're going to have a great conversation about your midlife entrepreneur story. We're going to be talking about your business and what's going really well, and also what midlife issues might be getting in your way to some extent and maybe challenging for you in your life as well as a business owner. So how I like to start these interviews, I'm going to ask you, how old are you? How long have you been an entrepreneur? And what is it that you do? Please take it away.
So I will be 54 in a couple of months. And I've been in business for myself for more than 20 years. I do a lot as far as scaling businesses. So automation, AI, I've been doing that for um, since the 90s, actually. Most people think everything is so new when it really isn't. Um, Automation has been around forever, and it's just now with AI really beginning to take the forefront. I can tell you that the thing that is working the most for me right now is the fact that everything that I've ever done, I like to say I was built for a time such as this. So I was a controller in a past life, working with numbers. I went into entrepreneurship and started helping people, especially experts, people who want to be known for something. I've helped them take my systems and catapult them because I give them the business systems behind the scenes that helps their brand grow. And then just automation and stuff in particular. And so typically in the world, most people tell you you gotta own a lane. You can't focus on all of these things at once. Well, all of these things is who make me who I am. I'm also a metaphysical minister. And so I use a lot of conscious living practices and different things in what I'm doing. And I don't separate any of it. And so that's what living in the middle has been so good for me because um, instead of having everything in silos, I believe in integration right now. So if I were to say what isn't working, I'm going to say it is relating to the younger generation. Um, I have clients who um their audience is of the younger generation, and so I now have to really dive into understanding them. And that sometimes is a challenge because especially like if I'm dealing with a music artist who's putting out music now, I love R&B from the 90s. You know what I mean? So like I everything in my mind is going to go through a 90s R&B filter. and and so it's kind of like too bad for you. But that is the thing that I have the most challenges with right now.
That's so interesting. I love what you said about integration because we are, as entrepreneurs, not even just in midlife, but everybody's talking about niche down, niche down, niche down. And sometimes that makes sense for sure. But your approach is just a little bit of a tweak on that.
Yes, it is. What I believe is most people teach your client avatar. And I actually believe that it is better to really talk If you're talking about the problem and the problem you solve, then that can be solved in so many different ways. And so if that's your niche, if your niche is I bring automation to the table, and I also am into behavior, people behavior. So I'm making sure the automation that I build has people behavior in it. And I'm just talking about how I do it. The people who resonate with me come to me because I'm not trying to fit somebody else's box and what they said I'm supposed to be. I think that's the thing that starts happening though when you reach 50. I think you start not caring so much, and you start really living or trying to live from your true center. I don't want to turn different faces on. Some people have a face for business, and then you have a face at home, and then you have a face with your friends. I want to be the same person no matter what. And it has been a big deal for the last 10 years for me to be that. And I think that's a different way of approaching business.
I think you're right. Oh my gosh, Tina, when I first, so I've been an entrepreneur now for 10 years full time.
Mhm.
And when I first started with my blogs and my podcast, I was a little bit more, what would the word be? Well, less silly. And I'm a silly person. I can't help it. I'm creative. I'm silly. I cannot keep that under control completely. But I just wasn't my true, I felt a little reserved. And then I started to see iTunes reviews over and over again, commenting on my sense of humor, my upbeat approach, and that it helped it helped these difficult topics that we're talking about as women in the middle be a little bit more accessible and less scary. So it's kind of like I got permission to let my freak flag fly.
Freak flag. Good word. I love it.
I didn't expect to see that, you know? It just really, it's a reminder that things are different now. Things are different for us.
Mhm.
And you're right. When we do get older, I mean, I'm going to be 62. And I noticed a difference from when I turned 50 and when I turned 60 about the stuff I just don't care about and where my confidence is and my comfort and the stuff that I'm not as comfortable with, but it's different than it used to be. Like I'm wearing CPAP. I wasn't interested in looking at CPAP 10 years ago, even though I was still snoring. But
Mhm.
now I care more about that. I care more about sleep. I care more about health. And it was when I turned 60 that the light bulb just kind of went off for me. So I love what you're saying about gauging where you are at age and stage,
Mhm.
and this idea of not turning these different faces on comes from a real place of authenticity and grounding.
Mhm. I think, um, I've been a coach for so long, right? For pretty much my whole entrepreneur journey, I've been a coach. And so the thing that I've learned speaking to most people is that they are trying somebody else's version instead of really understanding their own. And if you can help them just release one of the faces, just one, life changes, right? Because think of all of the stopping and starting and the hesitation that comes from, okay, well, this is what I want to do in my business. But man, if my family sees this, who might not understand the entrepreneur journey, they're not going to understand. So maybe I shouldn't say that. And like, there's so many iterations of that, right? And for me, I noticed that when I helped people think of themselves first, which is not a widespread philosophy,
Hmm.
that, hey, you should think about yourself first. You really you are your best if you make sure you're good and you're honoring your own heart first, then everything else can fall in line and fall in line around you. That's a different way and a different space coming from. And I just find that when you do it, things just change.
Oh, yeah. Well, a couple of things I can't resist asking you because I'm so curious. The first thing is marketing automation. Like you've said automation and systems a lot, and doing this podcast and meeting so many women, tech is one of the biggest things that stops them, that introduces a lot of procrastination and just lack of confidence. Like the thought that I discovered right off the bat in my entrepreneur journey was I suck at technology. I didn't realize how often I thought it. And the result of thinking that way just pulled me away from my goals and decreased my confidence. So here you are tackling tech and systems in a world of, I would imagine, a lot of women, older and wiser women, don't have that comfort level. So, how are you navigating that?
That's such a great question. When I think about just right now with you, Susie, your podcasting have over 400, 500 episodes, right? Like when you think of the technology that you're using, you actually, even though you were telling yourself that story that you were bad at technology, you can't be too bad at it, right? And
I
so,
can't believe I'm doing this, actually. It's
yes,
so weird for me.
yes. And then the other part that I would say to those women is that let technology be an extension of you. Because what technology will do if you let it is it will give you more hands. It will actually duplicate and triple triple you. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I can for an hour of programming, if I automate something for an hour, I'm likely to get about 1,000 hours back.
Wow.
1,000. That's
Wow.
that's that's a basic automation, right?
Mm.
I mean, think about like I talk about this a lot when I go speak that we as women, we like I am a closet control freak, I'm just going to own it. And I had spreadsheets over here and I had this over there and I want to make sure I got my hands on every little thing. But what if I don't have to go from this system to that system to this system to that system? What if I can set it up where it will go from here to there and then to there and it gives me the output? So where I would have problems delegating because of my control freakness,
Mhm.
I learned to delegate to automation first. See,
Mm.
because it don't call out sick. It doesn't talk back. And 100% of the time, if I didn't automate it correctly, that is on me. So it helped me understand where I could begin to let things go, and it actually made me a better delegator because of it.
That's so interesting, and we all know how important delegation is, and you're not the only control freak in this world, that's for sure. The other thing that pops out to me is this idea of focusing on unique intellectual assets. I'm sure a lot of your clients are surprised with what you consider to be an intellectual asset. They probably just take it for granted. Is that
Yes.
what happens with your clients?
All the time. When I can literally sit with someone for, let's say, 30 minutes, and I can tell them intellectual property that they are not utilizing in just a 30-minute conversation. And
Wow.
it is because technically your intellectual property is your education and your experiences put together. And so a lot of people think, hey, listen, with AI, like they're talking about how the knowledge economy is going to have problems and all of these jobs are going to be replaced, but what cannot be replaced is your experience plus your education is your wisdom, and so your perspective matters and that will never go away. So when you leverage that, like for instance, I was just telling you I'm built for a time such as this, on automation, um conscious living, you know, behavioral science, all of that in one. Like, who knew that all of that would wrap together and be a nice business for me? Who knew? I didn't. I didn't.
Tina, that's exactly what happened to me. I'm thinking about my educational background. And then at 50, I end up in coaching. And it was a couple years in that I thought to myself, well, look at me. My master's is in applied social psychology, where
Mhm.
I love doing long form interview and qualitative research. Oh, where I had to talk to people for long times, look for patterns in speech, and put everything together into meaning that came from the other person's perspective. Oh, gee, that has a lot to do with coaching. And I gravitate toward the podcast. It's just so interesting because I didn't see it naturally.
Mhm.
But then once you really see it, you can't unsee it. It's so obvious. And one of the things I talk to my clients all the time about, because everybody wants certainty, but there is no certainty. But all you can do is take the next best step. And if that next best step makes sense to you, then it'll lead you to the next best step. And there you go. But you can't see it. It's impossible.
Yes, and you just mentioned a skill that is very needed right now, and that's recognizing patterns. The people who can recognize patterns are the people who will master AI and help it morph into what it needs to be. So while some people are running from it, we want it to be regulated, we want all of these things. What I would challenge everyone to do is don't let everybody else program AI that you're going to end up having to live with, especially if you recognize patterns. Um, Understanding patterns is really what AI is about. It's really what automation is about.
Wow, you just said something that I had would never pop into my brain because I'm one of those people that you're talking about who I'm trying to use AI. I'm getting a little better at figuring out a good way that it helps me, but basically I'm afraid of it and I'm believing everything I hear about it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I
You
think
know, and
I think you're really recognizing something.
I think most people think of AI as this super enhancing content, and that is such a small thing of what is happening with AI right now. Um, Again, like I was just telling you, I can program a complete system to where people would think I have 25 assistants doing all of these things, and I don't. It's AI and automation. It's because once you recognize the pattern, you can program it.
Hmm.
Like, you know, think of this as evolution. Think of a long time ago when we used to go to department stores, we had to open the door. Now, when we go to a department store, that door slides open for us and it closes. Why? That's automation. When I first started in automation, I started at a manufacturing firm. I was a controller for a manufacturing firm, concrete manufacturing firm at that. So think of that, a Black woman in concrete, manufacturing. It was just crazy. But anyway, I started understanding process automation all of those years because now we standardize building blocks that build houses and this, that, and the other. So think of how fast the output got, right? Think of the precision now that helps with a surgery. If somebody has a life-saving surgery, and we know that you can only move so far. A surgeon's hand could be shaky, could be, but automation can go right straight to that point. So there's just so many uses for AI and automation right now.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. These are thoughts I've never had. And just the way you're thinking is, right away when you said automation and process uh and and concrete, I went right to I Love Lucy and the Chocolate Factory. That's where I am.
Yes, I love that. I don't
Oh
think
my
I've heard
gosh.
the name I Love Lucy in years. I love that.
You can
Mhm.
count on me to bring back a little memorabilia. Um, I find that it's really fun to make references that we grew up with.
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
fun. Okay, so can you tell me a couple of intellectual assets that you talk to clients about that really surprised them? Just a couple examples.
Sure, I'll give you an example in my life first.
Sure.
So when I um everything I'm doing now, I do not focus on the home care industry. However, I used to run a home care business. I had one for years, had 40 employees. I left that business, okay? Um, it is very rewarding to take care of people at the end of life, but it's also very taxing too, okay? It is a hands-on business. It's not it's not something you could set and forget, just isn't. And I left that business and I thought I was completely over it. Like I did not think I would be doing anything in it. But right now, I had one client who literally found me out of the blue. He found me for automation, but he needed me to automate his home healthcare business. Okay. And
Wow.
from that, I have whole franchise systems who come to me. I never advertised for any of this, none of it. And it came straight to me. And if it would have come to me 5 years ago, let's say like 7 years ago, I probably could not accept the gift that it is now because now I'm living from, again, I don't put myself in silos. I know everything that I know has built me for a time such as this, right? And because of that, I'm able to, I saw the gift for what it was. He knew what he needed, but he needed me because I already had the expertise in when you're calling someone's home, you can't market the way that you would market a necklace, right? Because th- these people are they're hurting, their family is at the end of life, so you got to be a little bit more delicate. You can't be pushy, all of those things. And I was able to bake that in. And his business grew by leaps and bounds. The first thing it did is he went from like, I think he said like 200 hours per week to like 1,000 hours a week. That was the first thing that happened. But then again, he kept coming back. And I have to say, this client is amazing for me because he challenges me. He challenges me. He comes back even if it's like, I don't know if I can do it. He's like, if anybody can, I believe it's you. And even if it takes me forever, he leaves it to me to be able to go back and figure this out. And again, from that, franchise systems.
Wow. That's such a great example. The only example I can think of right away, again, these things pop into my mind. I don't know where they come from, but when I first started to get interested in online marketing, it was, I think, just right at the beginning of the internet.
Mhm.
So in the 90s. And I remember reading this story about an e-guide that sold a gazillion of these little e-guides, and it was how to get squirrels off your balcony, something like that, like how to deal with squirrels.
Mhm.
So that was somebody's really great knowledge, and I have a feeling that he didn't grow up thinking he was gonna help people get squirrels off their property, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. When you think about it, think about the how we go search for stuff because we search when we need it, right? Like it's like, um, one of the things I've been researching lately is I'm replacing coffee because hormones, that's another midlife thing, right?
Huge, yeah.
Hormones, perimenopause, all of that. So if I'm trying to regulate my hormones naturally, I got to stop with this coffee thing. So I started drinking different things. And so that was the first thing I went and looked at. And guess what? I'm going to drop $20 for the ebook or whatever because it's what I want right now. And so I can understand that squirrel story. It makes so much sense to me.
Well, it was a million years ago that I read it. Like, I hope it was accurate as I'm sharing it. But I think the point is, even when I'm thinking through some of my skills right now, yeah, you never know the
Mhm.
how you can be helpful, and also when you're just naturally attracted to something and you have a lot of experience with it. Of
Mhm.
course, you know stuff, but whether or not we think it's worth somebody else appreciating that knowledge enough to pay for it, you know?
Mhm. But think about it. You understand patterns. So I bet sometimes when you're even watching TV, you start to see a pattern. You probably recognize it before anybody else does. You probably have been able to start figuring out, okay, I know what's about to happen next because you recognize patterns. That is a skill set that translates beyond industry.
Interesting. Okay, Tina, the next thing I wanted to talk about here, I love the idea that you're helping people nail down their intellectual assets and really appreciate that about themselves. But I know what happens in midlife that's so common as an entrepreneur is that a lot of times we can't run our businesses the way we want to because midlife stuff, otherwise known as crapola, starts to pop up sometimes and it just gets in the way of us wanting, being able to do things the way we want to. How has that affected you and your business?
Well, that affected me before midlife. What I've learned is when I became an entrepreneur, I wanted to be at home. In my career, working full time for somebody else, I was constantly going, working 60, 70 hours a week sometimes. I was just doing, and I didn't want that to be the case. If I'm going to work that hard, I wanted to work that hard while being present for my family. And so one of the things I did is instead of trying to control the things we can't control, I started putting boundaries and parameters around things. So I invented in my life what we called Super Tuesdays. And Super Tuesdays is the day I would do all of my coaching calls. For my group coaching programs, I would do all of um the office hours that day. Now, it didn't mean I didn't work the rest of the week. It just meant I didn't have to be on the phone. I didn't have to be on Zoom. So that way family could still be happening around that. Now, my oldest daughter, if you hear her talk about it, she would go, okay, listen, don't die on a Tuesday because mom is busy, right? Like, but that was how we did it. And then for every other day, I helped take everybody to whatever they needed to go to, help with grandkids once they came, but I put parameters around it. And I think the problem that we mostly have is we're trying to do it a version that does no longer work for our life. So changing it to how it works for us is the best way to go.
That's so good. I call that a midlife operating system, right? You said exactly what I know to be true. I really do think we have to get our head around this. We think the way that we planned our lives and ran our calendar and structured our schedule is like one and done, but it's not. The way we did this when we were 30 and 40, it doesn't work anymore. So if you want that kind of flexibility, you have to reassess. And it sounds like that's a great idea. I have Podcast Monday. Podcast Monday, everybody knows I'm not making dinner. Everybody has to leave me alone because there's a million interruptions anyway. Podcast Monday, stop the presses.
Stop the presses. I love it. I love it. And what if that's the error that we're coming to anyway? Is that we had the industrial revolution. What if this revolution is about coming back to honoring yourself a little bit more? And so, think of all of the creative things people no longer do. What if it's time to get back to that? What if it's time to nurture those things? So I just try to incorporate that in life anyway.
Oh my God, that's so good. Putting yourself first with those kinds of interests is something that's very hard for so many people to do. One of the things you mentioned in your notes is that you've grappled with some of these societal expectations and biases that can get in the way of your professional ambitions. What's happened? How's that shown up for you?
Well, I mean, as a Black woman, there's and especially being in tech, like I've been in it for a while. Like, there's more now, but like when you think about it, process automation since the 90s, 2000s. And then, I was the first Black person to do a lot of things. And when you think about that, you're walking into a room where they don't expect it to be you, and
Mm.
it just teaches you a lot. I stopped being, um, angry about it, and I started being honored. I flipped the perspective inside of me so I could learn how to navigate. I don't need society to change. That I think is the thing that's helped me. what can I change? And then hopefully maybe that'll affect a societal change. But I think right now we live in a state of chaos because there's this side and that side, and the polarity of it all is just it's amplified. So I believe you have to get self-centered, and it has to be you first. And you have to think of what was working for you and begin to tune out the things that aren't for you. And I don't think people realize attention is its own amplifier. That sometimes if you just stop giving something attention, it will fizzle out. And I think we should practice that just a little bit more.
That's so good. It's such a simple thing and it's so, so powerful. What about being a woman and some of the stereotypes that have come up for you, especially an aging woman?
Oh, same thing. I just embarked in music. I represent um several musicians who have a lot of things going on, right? Like I'm their manager. And at the end of the day, there's so much like, what is she gonna do for you? Like they expect me to be younger. They expect, I mean, there's there's just a lot of that. And I think, like I told you, because I believe everything brought me to a time such as this, I kind of stand in a different power now and where I ignore it most of the time. But it's there. It doesn't mean it's not there. It's there.
Hmm.
Being a woman in tech, think about that. Think about being a woman who most people, again, mostly everything that I've done in my life was done by balding white men. It just is the truth. And so when I walk in the room, I would be the only Black person with balding white men. And it's okay though. It took a long time to get to the point where I was comfortable in my own skin to be in that room. But it showed me that now, while I'm in the middle of it, that we just get to determine our own future. If I take on what they're throwing, then it becomes part of your persona, right? Like you start owning things that don't belong to you. That's their version, not yours. And so I just learned to keep honoring my own gifts. If I keep honoring my own gifts, they're going to make room for me.
Oh, Tina, that's so powerful. What would you say is one of the most surprising things about being over 50 as an entrepreneur?
I used to feel like I was a bull in a china shop, and that's how I'm going to go, and I'm going to do it. I never thought I would get to this space of, ease. I didn't believe in ease. I really didn't. I believed if it was too easy, it wasn't for you. Like, it was I had this thing going on, you're supposed to work hard, you're supposed
Yeah.
to I had all of that. And now, allowing it, allowing me to stand in who I am so that that ease can come, because that's really what it's about. It's the self-judgment where I'm taking on everybody else's stuff and then I'm making it hard when it's like, no, the only thing I gotta remember is what's for me, and then it's easy. That's been the difficult thing for me.
I have heard of that kind of a thought that things have to be hard many, many times from women. What is it that we got that message somewhere along the line? It's so consistent. But for you to be able to allow ease, it's kind of like that reminds me a little bit of some of the research around what people regret as they age. And one of the things that you hear over and over again is that people regret that they didn't allow themselves to be happy. And I can see that's got to be related to ease.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's about choices. You're listening to what other people think you should do and how you should show up and what you should be. But a lot of it too is just your lifestyle and what you're open to a possibility that you deserve ease when your expertise and your work ethic and your desires support it, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely, and I think there's so many, like you were saying, when you're talking about the societal stuff, right? Like, I used to live by sayings like, "I'll give people the shirt off my back." I used to live by those, like, but when you think about that, I'm not giving you the shirt off my back. What I'm gonna do is I might help you learn how to go get your own shirt. That's the second one is ease. The first one is hard, right? It's like
Mhm.
always, no matter how much is coming, you're what was there was a book, it was about sacred being in service, being in service. Well, there was a part that I felt was missing. It's being in service to yourself first. Then you got all of this other stuff in overflow. Help as many people as you can. Like, I think for a lot of women, it's the be in service to yourself first that that message was missing for a long time. Think
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
absent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Gone.
you're the wife, you're the mother. So your husband's needs come first, your kids' needs come first. Everybody's needs come first. And that metaphor that everybody uses, when you're on an airplane, put your oxygen mask on first. That really is a way of life that should have been taught. And I think if we teach it now, I think it's going to help relieve a lot of anxiety. I I think anxiety is rampant because we're waiting for other people to do things that they might not be capable of doing, so you need to do it for yourself. And I think that's the way to it.
Mm, that's so good. So, one of the questions I asked in the notes was about what you really want next in your business. And you mentioned a lot of speaking. Tell us more about that.
Think just exactly what I just said. I feel like I've come to a knowing in my life that I think other women need to hear because I have been in service my most of my life to other people. Um and loved every minute of it. But now I'm loving being in service to me. And I don't think it's anything wrong with it. I feel like we are at a time where a lot of the smoke and mirrors are coming down. Again, this very polar state that we're in. And how do you self-soothe? How do you make sure you're good? I think I think that message, I think I embody that message.
I think so too.
Thank you.
I think so too. And this idea that systems and processes and technology are your business best friends, I mean, that message, I'm open to it. It still makes me a little nervous because it's still like my confidence isn't completely there, but I'm seeing more and more in my old age about obviously it can be your best friend and it can help you take care of yourself when you know how to access those resources.
Mhm. Yeah, why not? And I think that even goes back into what I was saying. Why not let something take care of you the way that you've been taking care of everything else? And I think that's part of why women have a hard time with technology because it's the actual act of letting go where they have been holding it for so long. And I'm only talking what I lived, right? Like I'm speaking to the choir that is me because again, I'm a control freak. So, but being able to let go and know that I can wake up tomorrow and know that those 100 things I would have put on my to-do list are done. Now, and it takes a while to set it up. I'm not saying you can set all of it up now, but if you spend an hour a month automating something, by the end of the year, that's 12 hours. I'm telling you that that 12 hours will have changed your life in a major way.
Oh my God.
12
I
simple hours.
I love that approach. That is so good. Tina, I could talk to you all day, but alas, I think that's a wrap. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time from your day and sharing all this. Now, how can people best get in touch with you?
I am Tina Brinkley Potts on every platform.
Well, that's easy.
Yes, yes.
And who would an ideal client for you be?
Someone who really wants to use who they are and what they've learned over all of their life to take care of them from now on,
Mm,
putting systems and processes behind it, teaching it as a curriculum, knowing that people younger than them need what they have and what they've done. AI can't teach them that.
mm. Tina's so good. I love what you're doing. Your message is so I don't know, it feels like a warm hug somehow. It's like you're translating this scary stuff for so many midlife women, entrepreneurs into something that is just like I feel differently about it now. I'm thinking differently about it. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Amazing. All right, that's all for now. If you're listening and loving what you hear, please like and subscribe. Reviews are great too and much appreciated. And if you're a woman in the middle who's 50 or over and an entrepreneur would also like to come on the show, please go to www.midlifeinterviews.com and fill out an application. We'd love to have you on to share your story. Thanks so much for listening. It's never too late for you to put yourself on your agenda. I'm Suzy Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you again soon. Now, real quick, before we say goodbye, if you are connecting with the show and are finally ready to make some changes to regret-proof your life, I want to invite you to apply for the Women in the Middle Academy. It's my transformational midlife group coaching program to help you get clear about what's getting in your way so you can get on with the good stuff. Head over to www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com. Talk soon.